live here on the Chatter social app. So if you are not on this app, then what are you waiting for? So make sure you go to your app store, download Chatter US, and our amazing moderators on the other two platforms will put some exclusive invites in the chat just for you. So make sure you download the app first, and then click the exclusive link. Also, make sure that on your podcast platforms that you favorite Debate the News. Also, download some of our episodes. And if you've contributed, guess what? You're probably mentioned. So share those episodes that you were mentioned, that you shined, or you acted a fool on. Share those episodes with your loved ones and invite them over to Chatter for our live recording of our podcast, which is nightly and it is daily. So if you missed today, I guarantee you we'll be here tomorrow doing the same thing. JB, you okay? Are you back?
Yeah, we're back.
All right.
Sweet's not back yet, but Terry, go
Well,
ahead.
I just,
Sweet's.
before Sweet made a fool of himself, he was about to say that I lied because I think he doesn't understand that MMR is not the same as mRNA. Okay, MMR is measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. That's what I was talking about with the 500,000 study funded by the Danish government, by the way, not as Liquid Cyber is always talking trash in the chat, not by pharma, by the Danish government. I assume you think the Danish government, maybe they're beholden to big pharma too, but it wasn't by any big pharma. So when Sweet comes back, someone tell him he was about to say I lied about the studies. I think he's confused.
I then did some European countries decide to separate the
Yes.
vaccines. That happened, right?
Decide to separate, measles, mumps. I can't answer that, but what I can say is I'm talking about MMR, okay, not mRNA and whatever.
Well,
MMR,
MMR too.
yeah, okay. There's never been any study, and that has been studied a lot, that showed that it had any connection with autism. And there have been multiple studies done on that one. There have been other studies done on other vaccines, not as, let's say, not as big of a population, but this has been studied. What scientists feel, and look, I think it's more likely to be a genetic plus certain environmental factors. I'd be looking at microplastics a little bit more closely than we ever do. But I think that what scientists feel is also it has an awful lot, the increase has an awful lot to do with changes in the diagnostic criteria. So, for example, we always used to think in the beginning when we discussed autism, it was always like autism was dysfunction, basically. People could not even function with it. So they had a very strict definition that was very limiting. Now they've included all sorts of things which, are just on the spectrum type of thing, which some people you might not even notice, to very, very serious problems in adapting to life. So, to me, there's what most people feel is that diagnostic criteria has been a large part. I'm not saying all, I'm just saying a large part of the increase. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does not seem to believe that. And if he wants to do his studies, fine. But I'm not convinced that by September he's going to find a cause. Okay, because I don't think there is a cause, and I do not think it's as simple as he seems to feel it is. Thanks.
But his link he's trying to draw is towards diet and environmental conditions. Is that right?
Well, he used to say it was all vaccines. Interestingly enough, when he mentioned, he started out by saying we're going to have a cause and it's going to be an environmental cause. I don't know if he means environment like diet and, environmental conditions, or just overall. I have no idea what he means because he seems to be pulling back from the vaccines alone theory.
But there is a reason why in other countries they have those three vaccines separated. And it's got, I think, triple the preservatives, and doing them all at the same time. It's convenient for Americans to have your kid get it all at once, but without genetic testing, the risk is higher. And it seems like, right, if you do all three at once, maybe there is like a greater need for genetic testing, which isn't happening because people want to have it all happen in one visit. They want it convenient, but there's the side effects. I think maybe I think some countries maybe decided to separate them because there are certain risk factors with certain genetic groups.
Allie, I don't think most European countries, I don't know what countries you're talking about, maybe be specific. I don't think most of the countries actually do separate MM and R. Can you point me to which ones there are?
Yeah, I'll have to look into it to know specifically because I just heard that some do it.
I think my concern with these registries, though, with especially in this administration, is they've given access to so many people, right? That we don't. I mean, he may be using it for that, but who's to say that someone else that they deem like a Elon, not him himself, but someone else that they just like, oh well, he's coming in to do a special project, and now he has access to this autism registry, or someone from Pfizer or whatever. Like, I don't trust that it will solely be used for that, or whoever else they will allow to have access. We've had freaking security breaches already. Freaking Pete Hegseth is texting people over Signal. Doge had access to to the Social Security Administration, to our data within that. So, like, I think on its face, I think it's a good idea, but I'm just concerned about what they could potentially do with that information if it's outside of that agency.
Chat, go ahead and call
Or
it
is
for what
anyone
it
else?
is. I'm afraid that my chat's gonna end up on the signal chat with Pete Hexy and his brother. Just say what
That's
it
a
is.
fact.
That's what we scared
Yeah.
of. That my chat's
Hmm.
gonna end up on there. That's what it is.
They're gonna put your height and weight, your whole my chart, and they're gonna send it out. I don't know, GA. Like, I'm concerned that, like, I just saw how Elon and people that he chose, the techno bros, as someone called, I think it was Bull, called them techno bros. Like, they came in and just had access to the VA. I'm a veteran. They had access to our records at the VA. They had access to Social Security Administration, like uninhibited access. And so, like, they could potentially do some unethical things. I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, or, like, fear mongering or anything like that. I just, I don't know. I'm just a little bit concerned. And I don't even
Chat,
have kids.
chat, you know this as well as I know this because we both serve in the military. That even if you were to go to Nationwide, go to Aflac and try to purchase some insurance, right now the VA is safer with our medical records than its administration is. It takes Aflac 6 to 8 months to even get a release to get our medical records, and 9 times out of 10, they just go ahead and give you insurance because it takes too long. Because you know as well as I know, the VA can hold your medical records from anybody that's
That's a
asking
fact.
for them for 8 months. You know that. That's crazy. And just to say that, oh, we're going to make a list of everybody that has autism, trust us, we're not going to let anybody that shouldn't have access to. Man, if you don't go play in 5 o'clock traffic on some roller skates on I-26, get out of my face.
Do anyone trust, like, does I'm with you, GA. I don't trust it. But I think Scald and TC earlier, like, they agree, like, they think it's a good idea. I just don't know. I just have some concerns. I do think it's a good idea, though. But what wasn't hasn't there Tira wasn't there already existing research around this? Doesn't that exist?
Well, there, like I said, there's research about autism. There's research about vaccines and autism. I'm not aware. I mean, maybe there is research about other causes of autism. There's a lot of information about genetic causes of autism, but I don't know if any other environmental factors have been studied, to be honest. I don't think they've been studied in great detail, if in fact there are such other factors. I think that supposedly this list was supposed to help with research, but I must admit I do have some questions about that. I mean, so how do you know what, how do I say this? If you're talking about what caused it, if you put someone's
They
name on a
caused by
list. This person
bacteria
is
too.
autistic. How do you know what factors went into their particular autism, if any, right? How are you going to study it just based upon the list? I don't even see how you could do that. You'd have to start asking people questions, wouldn't you? What did you take? The mothers. What did you do? Where did you live? Things like that. And that becomes very intrusive. So I'm not convinced that just the existence of the list is really going to help very much. And I do think the potential is for people to use it for, average, I don't know, people sending, they get the list and they start sending emails about you can try this and take this, medicine or whatever the hell they would do. So I'm not sure the point of the list exactly. Are you?
Tara, they're gonna turn ice into ace. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I'm really serious. Does anybody have what are they going to do exactly with the list? They think they're going to use it to study autism, but how would a list do anything without
I
asking
think
many more intrusive questions?
I think it could like narrow it down to like certain areas, certain age groups, and certain like certain vaccine records, and uh, I think it could like pinpoint maybe a direction of where it could have came from. Because my son has autism, and a lot of parents in my son's age group that have their kids have autism. We kind of assume, we can't prove what we assume it came from vaccinations,
I
but
mean,
that's just an assumption. We
Well,
can't prove that, but a
I
lot of us
think
feel like it was vaccinations,
I
but
I,
we
under,
can't prove that.
I understand that, but I'm not sure. Well, okay, I'm going to say one thing. First of all, I hope
It
I
was,
hope
and
that
one of my children
you
got caught up from the vaccination.
what
That's where it come from. Period.
who's talking?
What was that? And what did they just say? It
I
came
have
from
no idea
vaccinations, period?
who said that and where are they? Couldn't really hear.
Clubhouse.
Oh, well, I can't hear it
who is
exactly.
on a
I would
walkie-talkie?
I wouldn't care how intrusive the questions were if we got to the bottom line of
Well,
autism.
I understand that, but I'm not sure everybody would agree with that. And like I said, one of the problems with autism is that the time frame in which it has been diagnosed is the same time frame that kids are getting vaccines, right? So there is going to be this correlation, I suspect, or at least in a lot of cases, right? 3 or 4 years old, kids are getting a lot of vaccines, and so it obviously, from a temporal standpoint, is very difficult to sort of say that didn't. You think it did cause it, right? And that's one of the reasons why I think that RFK Jr. has been so convinced of that. I I am happy to have things studied in whatever depth, but I would hope that we would study many other factors because vaccines have been studied at great length, and there really hasn't been, except for the fact that it happens at the same time, there hasn't been any evidence of causation. Other factors have not been studied as much, other environmental things. So I would hope at the very least we could keep a very open mind about this, let's just say.
Let me
Roundup's been banned in Europe for years.
let me just ask a question. I think somebody said that they have a child that's autistic. I'm just curious. And this is just I don't know any better. Is a progressive condition, or are they just diagnosed and it's not something that progresses on the spectrum?
No,
How does that
no,
work?
no, no, no. Well, how it happened? He was young, and I mean, I guess everybody's case is different, but he had got like a bunch of vaccines at one time, and he just was different. That's the best way I can explain it to you, bro. He was real young. He had got a bunch of shots uh, one year, and he was just different. And he was so young that I mean, he wasn't talking or nothing like that, but he was just real young. Yeah, I think he was like 2 or 3, somewhere around there, and he was just different after that. You know what I mean? And we can't like say definitively that was it. But as a parent, I just noticed that was different, and a lot of parents in his age group that kids that have autism all say the same thing. So I don't know. I don't
But
know, bro.
big, I mean, without getting too personal, what I would say to you is different than what? Different than he was before, different than your other children, different than the children around him.
No, it just like stimming. He started stimming a lot. He you know just like just not normal kid behavior at that age.
Ditto. That's exactly what happened with my daughter, big man. So thank you so much for also sharing your testimony. Hi, Debate the News.
Hi, Diana.
Hey,
Hi,
hi
Trisha. How
Diane.
many people did you guys convert on this good old, what is it today? Tuesday? How many of you guys got today? I know you guys took scold from us, that conservative scold, and then now live it all, huh, scold? I don't know if he's still awake. It's late for some of you guys. It's only 10 o'clock in Los Angeles.
I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of people still awake for this time of the hour. People been
Yeah,
staying up lately.
yeah, it's
What's
one
up,
a.m. here.
Skull?
It's 1 a.m. here. Gosh, I fell asleep yesterday. Everybody talking. Anyway,
Well, I appreciate the education. Thank you so much for sharing your story, brother.
Yes, big man. Let's talk. I had no idea that you also, and I just barely came back in. Your child specifically?
Yeah, my 10-year-old. He's
Okay.
10 now. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's 19. And your story is just spot on. And I know, I don't remember, I think it was Trisha, you asked him how different. And I can tell you, as a parent, it's one of the most challenging, especially I would assume if you had other children, right? I just had my daughter, my child, just one. Um, because you just know it's different, and sometimes it's very difficult for you to express it other than like the stemming. Mine was also diagnosed with what's called self-stimulatory behavior, so they have a lot of other different, they almost diagnose like some of the symptoms, and it helps to, I guess, give the diagnosis of autism. But there's still a lot of doctors that aren't fully in alignment as to what it is, what it isn't, what causes it, what doesn't cause it. Is it curable? Is it not curable? I mean, Tara, I think you might be able to back me up on that. There's doctors on both sides of everything, especially this one. So I agree with, in my situation, there was no direct vaccine. It was the aftermath of the high fever from the set of shots that she received. So we were in the ER right after those shots, and then went on to Children's Hospital where the diagnosing process continued from there. So these studies are very difficult because it's, it's based on who's performing the studies, but also in all the parents being able to come and see if we can go at it again now since we've got RFK Jr. in there. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for being so vulnerable and answering questions because being a nurse for as long as I have been, um, I of course have been in studies and doing research and things, but um, it's just so regulated, the questions that are asked, the they set you up with specific questions to ask, and you can't go beyond those questions. And I think it's um, as a medical person, you want to ask more questions. You want to know more information. You want to understand from the parent exactly what did you see, what did you experience. You can't put it into a box and just check off yes or no and make, like Tara was saying, these lists. The lists don't answer the true questions of what the parent was experiencing with the child and truly understand the research, if you understand what I'm saying.
Tara, I really do understand what you're saying. I'm glad that you clarified that. I'm just curious. From you being a nurse for so long and the two parents that have children, I'm just curious, are you concerned about that information of your child's, like, are you concerned about the government having that information all in one place? Does that concern you, or do the pros outweigh the cons? How do you guys feel about that?
I think you meant Trisha. I'm not a nurse. Trisha's the nurse. You
Oh,
said
I
I'm
think
Jira,
sorry,
but
Trisha. I apologize.
Trisha should answer. Yeah.
so as a nurse, I would tell you that what they do is they actually set you up to be taking information from a totally different area from where you're from, so that you can't even correlate the information to a place or um, a general. I couldn't correlate the information that I was taking to a general area. I couldn't really relate that information. So what I would say to you is that I really couldn't figure out who I was actually taking the information about. I would just actually get the information in alignment, like put the yes or no's in the boxes and say the parent claimed this, and this. And I they would have me documenting the information from a totally different region than where I was actually living or whatever, so that I couldn't really figure out, like, say I'm in New York, so I would have information from California so that I couldn't really even figure out who that person was. Um, I would be concerned that there would be uh, leakage of information. Absolutely. Um, we have so much um, information that is now, I mean, just with our credit bureaus and all the different things, I wouldn't want that information about my child with names attached to it, with dates of birth and things like that. But I would want that information studied so that if there was a possibility of figuring out a correlation to anything, that they could figure out what is happening. Absolutely, I would want to know the science and figure it out. If it could help one child not have to suffer through anything, absolutely, I would want to figure it out. Wouldn't anybody want to figure it out so that a child doesn't have to go through difficulties? There's enough issues for children to have to deal with nowadays in the world. To alleviate one thing, if it was proven that that was the issue that caused the problem, absolutely, I would want to figure it out.
I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a real good submission. Thank you, ma'am. Nuanced. That was water. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think everybody here has that thought. If if we could truly all come together and solve some problems to make it lighter on our kids, I think we're all here to protect our children, make it easier and better for our children.
Yeah, and you know what? That should be the war cry, right? It's quite embarrassing that we as adults can't unite under that notion that children comes first. You got a lot of adults that claim they suffer the most, but actually it's the children that's suffering the most in this world, in this paradigm. No other, like no other. Trafficking is like the second biggest industry in the world, and it's closely taken over the first. And if you know what the first is, it's pretty baffling. The first one is drugs, and drugs are everywhere. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want to trigger anyone and trauma and etc. and so forth. But yeah, balance is key. Is it on my end or is it coming some feedback from somewhere? It's like this static noise.
Sounds really
Bully.
clear here. So,
Yeah, that's you, man. Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Sheree, I saw you come off mic. Hi, Sheree.
Hello, darling. I was just going to say it sounds loud and clear. How are you? How's everybody?
I think the room got a little somber, but it's good here.
Good. Great to hear.
Well, JB, I think we covered them all.
You know, Sweet
I
was
am.
here. Sweet was here, and he got really upset with Tara. I was listening to that when Tara spoke about the MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella, uh, and he didn't come back after the reset. So, but it's crazy. I don't know that all this time later that we're still talking about these vaccines, and everyone's making like every vaccine that we've ever taken, and everyone that's arguing against vaccines have vaccines in their lives and they're in their body right now. Mostly every one of us have them. We had to do them to take to school. I remember taking them at school. I remember how going down to City Hall taking them. They give you a shot and then put a lump of sugar in your mouth. I
Jonathan,
mean,
the
what's
the the
that? Go ahead.
the number of vaccines has changed significantly, and the strength and the strains have changed. It's not the same, dude. Not the same.
Let me just say this right here. I would trust the vaccines today 100 times more. I would trust the vaccines that we took back then.
Are you
Okay, a
do you
hundred times, a hundred
see
times more,
me?
and then I would trust the vaccines trust the vaccines I took back then 100 times more than the vaccines they had in the 50s and the 40s.
Okay,
So
you trust
it's
the
crazy.
wait, you trust the vaccines today more than you trust the vaccines in the 50s and 40s. Or is that what you're
In the
saying?
70s and the 60s, absolutely 100%.
Have you absolutely lost your mind? Do
No,
you
I
know
think
how
you've
many
lost your
more
mind because
vaccines?
what you don't realize is right here. The reason our life expectancy goes up is because of vaccines. And you guys,
Oh my
most of you
God.
guys, you have vaccines in your system right now, okay? And a lot of children can't get in school without their vaccination records and not being
Jonathan,
vaccinated.
are you
It's
being are you
people
being
like
paid?
it's
Are
people.
you
Hold
being
on, I'm gonna
paid?
let you go. I'm gonna let you go. It's people like you is why we have a measles outbreak right now. Okay? Because it's the same fucking vaccine that it's always been. It's been improved upon a little bit, okay? But it's the same fucking vaccination. It's the same one. It's gotten better, less iron. They moved all this the harmful shit out of it.
Approved.
But it's been improved. So, but go
Okay,
ahead.
let me
Mike's
ask
yours.
you this, Jonathan. What's your definition? You said it's been improved. What's the definition of improved according to you?
I gave my definition. I said the harmful stuff out of it, the metals and everything else, they took out of it. Okay,
Okay, but improved by whose standards?
improved by everyone's standards. Okay, yeah. All right. If there were, I'm gonna tell you something. If there was no such thing as social media, you wouldn't been brainwashed the way you've been brainwashed. That's my philosophy. Go ahead, Mike. Yours.
Jonathan, I feel so bad for you, man. I
Thank
just
you
feel
so much. I appreciate that.
no, you're gonna see what's gonna happen. And Fauci is gonna go down. Are are you not seeing the
Fauci ain't going nowhere. So you're a Trumper, obviously. I can tell now you're a Trumper. Fauci's not going.
excuse me?
All right, he was given a preemptive. He was given a preemptive part. His pardon. Okay, so like Fauci's not going nowhere. Okay,
Okay, let me
and
ask you this,
you
Jonathan.
lost me when you said that shit. Fauci's not going nowhere, but
Okay,
to a retirement.
till re- okay. Jonathan, let me ask you this. Are you being paid by any USAID, any Democratic
Oh
organization?
gosh.
USAID. Why would USAID, a federal agency, okay,
Jonathan,
that
are
does now
you
defunct, be paying me? Damn near
Good
defunct, be paying
question,
me. That,
Kathy.
are you being paid by any organization? Period. Any organization. Are you
Jonathan, that's
sponsored?
Kathy.
Are you paid?
Kathy
Are
who?
Dr. Hope, Kathy.
I want to know, are you being subsidized, paid, have any kind of donations, anything from any organization, whether it's political, whether it's from a pharmaceutical company, anything? Answer the question now. Honestly, are you being paid by anyone? It's going on
Yes.
record right now. Are you?
Oh, she recorded us last time, JB.
I am
Oh
most
my
certainly being paid by every organization that exists.
God. Pfizer,
Name
all
them.
of them. Me,
All
I
of them.
have been. I've been a nurse for 28 years and I've been promoting people getting vaccinations because it builds up antibodies in your blood so that you don't get the diseases that they are fighting against. And yes, I've been paid
Okay,
by
so
every,
Jonathan, what is
absolutely
the
every pharmaceutical company there is out there.
Okay, so
JB, I'm
Jonathan,
with you, man. We're making millions on it.
yeah, good luck. I hope you burn in hell for doing that. That's
Dude,
great. I hope you
you
feel
know what
great
the
about
crazy
that.
thing is, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Like real talk. On
Real
X,
talk.
yeah,
There are
yeah, real
millions of
talk,
people
lady, because this is where
dying.
you get it from. On
Yeah,
X to this day, they do have big
this is
rooms where
insane.
every
We
now
have
and
like
then someone will
literal
come up
devil
and be like,
worshippers.
"Don't
Go
you
for it,
remember
man.
Nelson and Jonathan being in their big rooms, their political rooms? They were all getting paid. They were. It's crazy.
We
It's
know you
fucking
are.
batshit crazy."
You
I'm
are.
like,
And you know
damn,
what?
Jonathan,
It's
we've
going
been
to
getting
catch
paid. And
up.
all of us, like, if they recognize our faces or our names or boom, like, it's the craziest shit ever. I'm telling you guys, this social media, audio, virtual
Oh,
shit
wait a minute.
is
Hey,
Jonathan
different.
says he's pardoned. That's
hey,
funny.
hey,
Yeah, probably
Dr. Hope,
is.
Dr. Hope, ma'am, are you there, ma'am?
Him calling her Dr. Hope is wild work on Clubhouse. Y'all make different over there.
Hilarious.
That is
Hilarious.
Listen,
not Dr. Hope.
okay, yeah,
Jonathan, I hope it's worth it. Man, I hope
Kathy.
it's worth it. I hope it's worth it because I don't think it's going to be. And you know what?
It's worth
Kathy,
it. It's worth
Kathy,
it.
you were supposed to come to Chatter. Was that you, Jonathan, jumping in? I couldn't tell.
No, go ahead. No, that go ahead. Finish it.
Kathy,
I,
you were supposed to come over to Chatter. I
No, I'm
left you a
not going to come to
message. You
chatter. I
can't
think,
bang with being from Clubhouse. It doesn't work that way.
nope.
But
Jonathan,
Kathy,
My name is,
can you please educate me, and
I can
what
just tell you to tell the truth and be a Christian, good person. I think you're paid opposition. I think,
who
you
me?
know that people are
Oh my
dying from the
God.
vaccine. I think
What
you know
have you met me
everything.
before, Kathy?
I'm sorry.
Have you met me before,
She's
Kathy?
not talking to you, filler.
Yeah, I asked her a question and she answered that way, bro.
dude, that's
That's
Clubhouse on
not even
Clubhouse violence.
Jonathan.
Let him
There's like
go.
Oh yeah, my
three
bad.
different
She
people
thinks
Let it
she's
go,
saying.
talking to
Bart.
Jonathan all the
Yeah,
time,
she
even
thinks
though it's through
Jonathan.
Jonathan's
I
mic.
mean,
And
we're
she,
not
yeah.
fucking stupid, man. This is the most ridiculous thing. This is just like a churning clubhouse room that it's a different person every time.
But I don't get it. Are you answering my question to me or are you
It's
directing it to someone else?
No, you're not Jonathan asking a question.
I was the one who asked the question,
You're
ma'am.
not Jonathan. I've heard Jonathan's voice. I know Jonathan's voice. You're not Jonathan.
So you profess that Jonathan asked you the question about you educating me right now?
Okay, that
I'm just trying to identify the issue
She
here.
doesn't get it. She's looking at Jonathan's PTR. No,
no.
I don't think she
I
wants to
don't.
talk to that filler.
They're both
Yeah.
on Clubhouse though.
Yeah,
All
I ain't
Right.
she
one.
can do is
No,
It's
just
my
not,
look at her
I mean,
my
phone.
God.
everybody knows right now that the person talking out loud is not Jonathan.
Yeah, but I asked you. Okay, I'm gonna reiterate the question. Can
Well,
you?
get your own profile, man.
Take three.
What do you
Action.
mean? Get my
Look,
own profile? I
he's
got
right
my own
next to you on the
profile.
stage. He's right next to you on the stage,
Oh my
Kathy.
God, bro.
Look,
Okay, you know
he's
what?
right next
I'm
to you.
good on
Let's
Let
you.
them
see.
talk. Let them
I'm
talk.
good
Let's
on
vote.
you, man.
This shit is funny.
Who's on first?
Take six.
Okay.
We went through this like a month ago.
But,
This is
Yeah,
not.
and we
Just
were really
Kathy,
nice
just
to
keep
I'm
Kathy.
gonna tell you something. If you think that
just
all
keep telling
vaccines are
everybody
bad
to
for
get
you,
vaccinated. Just keep telling everybody to
go
get
get the vaccine
vaccinated.
for stupidity. Okay?
Right. So you're all about everybody get vaxxed. Get all the
Yep.
vaccinations.
Yep.
And you got them all,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Kathy, Jonathan even wanted all of us, or not that he wanted, but
Do you know
what
how
did you say,
crazy
Jonathan,
this
about all of
sounds?
us who were gonna be fired who didn't get the vaccine?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, you got Dr. Russ here. Let me, Dr. Russ. Are all
Oh, okay.
vaccines bad?
Oh
Dr.
my
Russ, are you
God.
there?
This is like the craziest
Well,
thing.
1 second, Dr. Russ, because Dr. Russ is here.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Sorry, man. I was
My question
trying to
to
get
you,
on.
yeah, are all vaccines bad? With the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, and
Hey,
rubella, are these vaccines today, the measles, all
Jonathan,
the vaccines, are they
Kathy,
worse
you
Jonathan,
gotta
than what they
mute
were
up.
in
Jonathan,
the
stop.
50s and the
Stop.
70s?
Kathy, you
Jonathan,
gotta mute
stop.
up, ma'am.
I did not say all vaccines are bad. I said the COVID 19
No,
vaccine
you
is
did not.
bad.
I never
Yes,
spoke
I
about the
did.
COVID-19. I talked about MMR, and I said, and you
No, we
told me
did
that the
not.
vaccines from the 50s are better than the vaccines today, and I said, no, they're not. They
I
removed
said there's
they've
many
improved
more
because they removed the
vaccines.
metals. And you said, what do you mean by improved? Don't do that.
Jonathan, you're
You need
lying. You're lying straight up in your room. You're lying. I
guys,
said,
Oh
guys, guys,
dear. No. No.
No,
guys,
no,
you're
no,
guys,
he's
lying.
not lying. I heard it
That is
myself. And you was
exactly what
like,
happened,
so,
Jonathan.
so, 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 y'all gonna take all the vaccines? You even said that in the end, just like
You
two, three
said it's
minutes
too
ago.
many and it changed it, and the vaccines from the 50s, and you said I need to go get my head examined if I think the vaccines today are better than the vaccines from the
Jonathan,
50s.
you're making
That's
shit
what you
up.
said.
You're a crazy person. I said, I grew up.
That's exactly what you
That's
said.
a fact.
That's
Jonathan,
exactly what you said. And you said you felt sorry for him and he needed to go and get his head examined.
right.
Hey, Kathy, can I ask you a personal question?
No,
You don't have to
wait,
answer,
Absolutely.
hold
ma'am.
on, no, Bull, you can't do this because I need to know because now I'm genuinely intrigued.
Let's go.
What did I say? I mean, what did you say? Because I know what you said. I pretty much said verbatim what you said. So
She said what you said.
I know she said what, but I want to hear what she said.
No,
She said.
you said, Jonathan, that all vaccines are great and that you, I said, we had very few vaccines. I was born in the 60s. We had very few. Now there are so many. And you said, "Oh, all these vaccines are great." And I said, "Okay, what about the uh COVID-19 vaccine?" And you're like, "Oh,
You
yes."
never
And all
mentioned the
You
COVID
that's
No,
vaccine.
you
yes,
we
never.
never
that's
spoke about
the
COVID at
point.
all today.
That's
Never.
the point.
We never spoke about COVID.
Nope.
Oh
You
my
never
God.
once mentioned
You
COVID.
really are you really are a crazy bastard, aren't you?
Oh
This
my
shit
God.
funny as hell.
Hey,
Okay, are you
Him,
gonna?
you're on a
Okay,
podcast
have.
being
Do
recorded.
you
You
want
really
me
are a
to?
funny bastard.
Wait,
I
hold
want
on,
to. I'm actually going to make
Jonathan.
this a short. I'm going to
Jonathan.
make this a short.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Do you want me to post in the chat? I will. The number of vaccines in 1970 versus in
You're
2025. You
arguing
want
two
me to
different
do
things because
that?
you say you
Now
weren't
Because
we're
even
it's
stuck
arguing
about
on
that now.
noise.
40
Now
times
you say you're
more.
arguing COVID. Now you're arguing that. What are you doing?
I'm proving stuff to you that you can't
Well, what you
refute.
said that you weren't even discussing that. You said we were discussing COVID. Make up your mind.
I'll I'll take anything right now. Let me
Oh,
get the
oh,
let me show you the
oh.
vaccines in 1970 versus 2025. I'm going to post that
Let
in
me
the
ask you something. Are
chat.
the vaccines today? better than the vaccines? Those MMR and all that. Are they better today, or were they better back then?
Jonathan, I hope you're getting paid a fuck ton of money because
I'm asking you a question.
you're
I
Me
am,
too.
by
doing
the
a
I
way.
want
Oh,
bad
she
some.
thing,
changes
man.
the topic good, doesn't she?
Go ahead.
You're doing a bad thing, man, and you know it's true. There are millions of people that have cardiovascular issues or getting
I'm
turbo
asking you:
cancers.
are
You're
the
a
vaccines
bad
today
boy,
better than
Jonathan.
the vaccines back then? Yes or no?
Everybody up in here is vaccinated for COVID probably
No.
12 times. Am I right?
What are you talking about, man?
Ah.
And
Is
don't wish that
anybody
even
on this
on me
stage?
because
Is
Man,
Jonathan
anybody
Bing is a former shield.
yeah,
Yeah,
is
I'm
yeah.
not
anybody on this
vaccinated for
stage
COVID.
What
not
Shut
I'm
up.
asking
vaccinated?
you,
Former
man,
shield.
what I'm asking you, are you said are the vaccines back then better than the vaccines today? That's what I'm asking. Yes or
No,
no?
I did not say are they
I
better. I
told you
said
she's not
how
gonna
many
answer,
were
bro.
there?
Big bro. She's not gonna answer
You know
anything,
what?
bro.
This is the dumbest
Let the
fucking
content
shit.
filler.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
quiet.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. We got it.
Jonathan's getting paid. This whole group is a paid thing. I totally get it. But how many people on
I'm
this
not getting
stage?
paid.
Me neither,
From
man.
your mouth to God's ears.
I feel
Jonathan, send
confident
me
with
my
that.
Don't
Now,
text,
lie.
man.
let me
Come
tell a
on,
You're
man.
story.
not
Wait on
getting
my
paid
call.
like
This
me.
woman allegedly said that the vaccines, the MMR, are worse than they were back in the 50s
I did
today.
Yeah.
not
No, we're
fucking
none of
say
us are
that,
getting paid.
Jonathan. You're
Number
a
one,
fucking
even
liar,
me.
man.
None of
You're
us
a
are getting
liar.
paid. That's bullshit.
You're a
Total bullshit.
liar, man.
So forget about that. I don't even know who's talking, but listen,
I'm
nobody's
gonna
getting
start
paid
recording
in
this
this
because I
app
think it's fucking
from anybody in
slander.
the pharmaceutical companies to give any vaccines. So just stop saying that shit. Okay.
Ugh.
And
And
vaccines
and
are like the
and,
lowest margin medicine
and
out there.
it
Like,
just doesn't
why
matter.
the
It's just a
fuck?
stupid argument to
Yeah.
say people
It's
are getting paid. That's number one. Number two, yeah, Jonathan's correct. The vaccines, the way they're administered, the way they're combined, the 30 years that they have in newer research make them safer. Does that make them foolproof? Does that guarantee you're not going to have a reaction? No. You can have a reaction from a band-aid, right? So what I do is I do cardiac surgery, but I don't put a band-aid on anybody without telling them that there's a risk that they're going to have a reaction to the band-aid
Amen.
because they're you can't take an aspirin anything. So
But Dr. Rush,
somebody
the
else says
MR,
something. Hold on, wait. Somebody else says something about there's millions of people with cardiovascular issues. Not true. There's a bunch. Probably don't know how many. It's not millions, but it's definitely a known side effect of the COVID vaccines, right? There's cardio, you know, myocarditis, some cardiac problems that were experienced in a lot of the age group between 18 and 35 young men, mostly. So definitely there's a lot of shit out there that came out from vaccinating the world, you know, a billion people with a vaccine. You're going to have issues. There's no doubt about it. And then today, you know, if you want to know my opinion, I don't think we should be giving all these young kids and babies all these vaccines. The schedule today, like I don't know who was talking, but they're correct. There's a lot more vaccines today. It's insane how many they get, but that doesn't mean the standard ones, you know, polio, MMR, you know, smallpox. I mean, those diseases were nasty, and none of us, you know, trust me, none of you would want to ever get any of those. So, the basic vaccines, I think, I agree with Jonathan. Jonathan are safer. A lot of them are still necessary. They do a lot of good. Your choice if you want to take them. The COVID vaccine has its issues personally. If you're healthy and good shape and you take care of yourself with with the COVID strains that are out there today, you know, you're pretty safe going without it if you're in good shape. If you got other comorbidities, you're obese, you're diabetic, you're old, you're frail, you got a bunch of issues and you're at risk for COVID, then you know maybe the vaccine will work. I'm not totally sold on the efficacy. I think, you know, it was rushed in the sense that they compressed the timeline that it was developed. But remember, that wasn't one company working on it. So people always say, oh, well, you know, they rushed it so fast. But think about it. Every pharmaceutical company in the world dropped everything to work on that vaccine and they worked together. So if you did that for any other disease today, muscular dystrophy or some of these other rare diseases, and you got everybody working on it at once, they would speed up the timeline too. So yeah, it was rushed, and I don't like not having long-term data. So there's still some issues with it. But by and large, vaccines are not all bad. They have their place, and it's up to you in America at least to make your own choice and your own decision. And I would not get in other people's face because of their choice, you know. And we can talk about whether or not there's a, who's gaining from the vaccines the most in terms of pharmaceutical companies and everything. That's a whole different story. But for now, that's about what I gotta say. I'll land there.
Sarah, that was so informative and awesome, and I appreciate it. And I do not disagree with vaccines at all. I think
What?
I've had vaccines. I don't disagree with vaccines. I was born in the 70s. I've had vaccines. What I
You
was
just said you was born
afraid,
in the '60s.
I was born in the 60s.
You
Yes.
just said you was born in the
Holy
'70s.
shit.
I was born in
No, she didn't,
1969.
Jonathan.
I was born in 1969. I try to make myself seem a little younger here and there, but whoever the
Kathy, we
doctor,
love you. That's
Uh,
why we invited you to chatter. But hold on, JB, I have a question for you. You think Kathy would
I want
raise
to say something to
accusations,
that
report you, and
professional.
leave your ass in jail for 30 days?
No, I
Who does
want to
that
talk.
remind you of?
Kathy's just batshit crazy.
she
No,
No,
I'm
ain't coming
not.
over
Jonathan.
here.
Jonathan,
No,
you want to try to get that lawyer in to DTN, the one from that video that you posted? Because she's trying to get a petition signed. It'd be pretty cool to bring her in.
wait, what are
Yeah,
you talking
absolutely.
about, man? What?
Doc, I almost called you Dr. Kathy. Kathy, come on over to chatter. You
No,
can meet
I'm
Jonathan
not going to
in
do that.
like
I,
what, 5D
I
over
hope,
here.
I would like to talk to the doctor who was, or the healthcare professional who was just talking.
There you go, Dr. Russ.
He's a
Right back
doctor.
at you.
Definitely a
Is he
doctor.
still there?
He might be,
Yeah,
yes.
depends
Oh,
on your
awesome.
question.
Awesome. No, I was just going to ask you, this is one thing that concerns me, honestly. Uh, I have, um, my
Oh
son,
shit, she about to get this. She want to be diagnosed. Go ahead.
No
no,
medical advice.
no, I'm not asking for medical advice at all. I'm asking for an opinion. Um, uh,
Jonathan's got a lot of opinions.
I know it. Whoever was just
Medical
talking
opinions,
Yeah,
man.
about
go
the
He
ahead.
gets paid
What
to
vaccines,
what
give
what do
them.
you got? What do you got?
I, all I was going to ask is there has been an uptick in turbo cancers, and the reason I ask about it is because I've never had in my family, we've never had any cancers as like a morbidity, comorbidity, whatever. Um, and I have a son who's 25 years old, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, he gets diagnosed. He was not vaccinated, not vaccinated, but
There's the problem.
but no, no, that's not a problem. I'm asking a question. He was not vaccinated, but there is an uptick in turbo cancers, and I've seen it with my friends and people I work with. And I mean, these are people who are like athletic people, and they run and they do triathlons. Like one of my friends that I used to work with 4 months ago, she's running a fucking triathlon, and she just died last week from a brain tumor. And it's like all of these people are getting these turbo cancers. And so I was going to ask the gentleman who just spoke on the vaccines whether he has anything to say about it. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want to make a comment, whatever. But if there's anything he would like to say about that, because it is like a fact. Turbo cancers are on the rise in the last
Okay,
three,
yeah,
four
I'll tell
years.
you my opinion. That's not
Thank
a
you.
fact. Turbo cancers is basically a conspiracy theory from the anti-vax crowd. It's not a medical term. It's been made up. It just isn't there. So I would encourage you to go do a deep dive into the real evidence. Go to PubMed, look it up, read about it. Don't just read for 10 minutes, read for a day and then come back and we'll talk. Okay. There's a lot of bullshit that people are pushing out there. I'm the first one. You already heard me tell you that the vaccines have side effects and that
Yeah.
there was a lot of bad things that happened from the COVID vaccine. There's a
Can
lot
I
of good
like
things that happen,
could I like
right?
look you up? I mean, just
Did you what?
could I just like look you up like
Yeah,
as a
sure. Yeah, you can look
yeah.
me up. Go ahead, no problem.
Yeah. I mean
What you don't? I'm actually not a doctor. I just play one on TV. Jonathan keeps telling everybody that I am.
no,
Dr.
I
Rush,
mean
she wants to look you up.
no, I
She
really
just doesn't want to
was
look
Look,
you
no.
up.
look
I
me
There's
up.
one
Go
on
on.
Chatter.
You know, the best way to look me up is just look up my name on LinkedIn. You'll
okay.
see who I am and what
What
I
is your
do.
name on
And
LinkedIn?
and I have zero interest in telling lies or telling making shit up. That's why I'm careful how I answer because I'm a evidence based person.
No, I
And
appreciate that. That's what
let me just
people
tell you another
need.
thing. Jonathan and Nelson
Yes.
and many of us, we were in that million marathon room for COVID for years there, or whatever it was, seemed like a lifetime. And looking back on the experience, the public wasn't the only people that were um, I don't want to say duped, but didn't have all the information. And the doctors, the medical community was put in a really bad spot because for, you know, a century, the physicians, everybody went to us for correct information. And, we relied on groups like the World Health Organization and the NIH and people like Dr. Fauci and all these people in the past, and organizations where we got our knowledge. And we passed that on to the public. But that trust was betrayed on many fronts. Doesn't mean that the
You got to
vaccines
put a name on it
that
though. Who betrayed trust?
what
Who betrayed the trust?
I think I don't have a name on it. The systems, okay. So people like I'll put a name on one name on it. People like Fauci, okay, and
Can you say that
Francis
again for
Collins,
Jonathan Bain?
okay. So and I think his biggest mistake was he got caught up in a wave of trying to get this thing out there and taking a unilateral path despite some evidence that maybe it wasn't for everybody. Again, you got to listen to the underlying message. There's a lot of really good things that came out of the COVID experience in terms of vaccine development, drug development, treatment, and the vaccine did save a lot of lives. In the early days, that first strain of COVID was a killer. I have personal, colleagues and friends that died. And a good friend of mine had a double lung transplant. Okay,
Hey,
that was
can I
real
can I
shit.
can I
And the
ask you
vaccine
one
saved
question?
lives. Vaccines also had, problems with it. Okay. So
Can I ask
it's all everything in medicine, everything in life is a risk benefit. It's not absolute. So I'm just saying that like I'm very careful about, what I tell you in terms of the medical evidence because some of the medical evidence is tried and true and trusted and other stuff isn't.
okay.
And for somebody who's not a medical professional and doesn't read medical research for a living to come up here on the stage and spout bullshit, it's, that's what it is.
Are
I'm
you
just going to call it out.
are you talking about me, sir?
I don't know. You so whoever was talking about the turbo cancers, that is
Okay,
just not
that
a
was
valid
me.
theory. Is that you?
Yeah. My
It's
name is
well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but that's
No, you're not
bullshit.
going to hurt my feelings. I think
Did you look
outside
me
the
up yet?
box. I listen to everybody. That's what I do. I try to gain as much knowledge as possible. I would like to know if you don't mind what your thought is about what was posted from whitehouse.gov about um COVID.
I don't know. Tell me what it was. Remember, I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, so I got better things to do with my day
Well,
than just look up everything that's out on the news about vaccines.
well,
So,
it was
what was it? Tell me, and I'll
it
give you my
was.
opinion if I recognize what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a really, really huge deal. I can post it um, in the chat. I mean,
He
it
just
was.
asked you to tell him what it said.
It basically said that COVID was uh, an engineered um, disease. Basically, I'm just going to post it because I don't want to say anything because I know. I mean, this was just 2 days ago. It's kind of a huge deal. Um,
Again, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the origin of COVID in the Wuhan lab and
right. That's what we're talking
whether it was
about. We're
Yes,
talking
engineered?
about
yes,
a.
yes.
We're talking
Is
about
that
a
what
who
you're
to
talking about?
blame.
Because see, you say you don't want to talk about it,
No,
and again,
I'm fine with
I'm
talking about it. Do
I
you
like
think
to
there was
talk
somebody?
in what I know and have validated, and I will tell you when it's my opinion and I don't know. That's
Okay,
why I asked you what you're
do you
talking
think
about.
it was an engineered? Do you think it was a naturally occurring virus, or do you think it was maybe an engineered?
No, no. So they've done extensive tests,
Mm-hmm.
genetic testing, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too deep, but you can look at the what they call fingerprints and it's kind of like a forensic investigation, right? So you can isolate the strains that are out there and you can walk it back to the original strains and you can look for evidence
Mm-hmm.
of things that don't occur in nature. And I'll just give you an example. If you remember your basic biology, you know, DNA, you know, gets translated ultimately into a protein, and there's a sequence in the DNA and the nucleic acids, right? And again, I don't want to go too deep, but it's an alphabet soup, right? And in nature, that alphabet is random with some purpose. But what you don't see in nature is you don't see like repetitive patterns out of the blue. And so when you go and analyze some of the early COVID strains, it's almost the odds of them actually just coming out of nature. It just can't happen. So there's definite, genetic evidence that this looks like it was engineered in a lab and leaked. And the whole,
Can you
you
say
know,
that loud? Say that
say
loud for
what?
Jonathan Bain. Say that loud for Jonathan Bain. Say that loud for him. Because he don't
I don't know.
believe that.
I don't know what Jonathan
He
thinks.
believes
And
Fauci and the rest of them
Wait,
knuckleheads.
you got to
I
say
mean, he
that.
well,
believes them
well, actually,
wholeheartedly.
I don't know what Fauci
Then
believes right now.
I can go to bed
Because
now.
here's the thing, I don't know if Fauci's going to come clean with everything. Because it's not. I mean, here's the thing: you can look it
Oh my
up
God,
in
you're
terms
just
of. Sorry, what?
John. You're just like laying it down right now. Done. Slap it
Well,
down. It's
Can you let
done.
him keep going? Can you let him keep
so,
going, ma'am?
Let's
This is
all I was
go.
going to.
educational.
All I was
Jonathan
going.
Bing has certified this guy as an
What I was
expert.
going to say is you can go and yeah, you can look me up on PubMed too. I don't give a shit. I have nothing to prove to anybody. Um, but if look at Fauci's what he's funded, so Fauci's at a level or was at a level where he's the head of a whole institute, and so he doesn't know every single grant and all the funding that went into every single lab, right? Because he can, it's he's overseeing this giant budget, and he doesn't sign off on everything. However, he's a scientist and he has his own projects and things that he pays attention to. So there's absolutely no doubt, and there's documented evidence in the NIH and the grant funding that gain of function research was going on, and it was going on under Fauci's watch. Doesn't necessarily mean it was his lab that was doing it, but there was certain research that was not sanctioned in the US that was moved to China. And we absolutely had NIH dollars going into the Wuhan lab. I mean, that's just indisputable. I mean, you can look it up, science, nature, the scientific. In fact, we're over it. I mean, the scientific community's already moved on. It's only in forums like this where, you know, people want to, you know, the people love conspiracy. They love to debate, you know, things like this. But for me, the body of evidence that I've seen, all fingers do point to this not being a naturally occurring
So,
jump from
Dr.
man
Russ,
through
didn't
about.
Fauci testify under oath that it was not there?
Jonathan's really
what
upset
does
about
what does
this.
that mean? I
You
mean,
know what it means.
the testimony in front of Congress and $6 will get you Starbucks coffee.
And
I mean,
that's
that's
I think
fucking
that's where
bullshit. I
we
mean,
lost a lot of credibility,
here's the
with
thing,
Fauci.
right,
Go ahead.
and that's my point. Is I grew up, you know, in the you know the 70s and 80s, you know, and and then when I went to medical school, I literally thought these guys, you know, not only did I think they knew everything, I thought there'd be no way in hell that any of them would be liars. And it's sad to say, but after now I've been 20 some years in biotechnology, you know, in addition to cardiac surgery, but my my full-time job now is basically, you know, getting drugs or gene therapy through the FDA. And I got to tell you, 20 years working with the FDA, I'm very disappointed in the level of corruption that there is there. There's a lot of it in the NIH. And you know, and it's not like everybody. It's like the cops and the workforce. There's bad apples everywhere. But to say that, you know, because of Fauci's position and, you know, he's not going to lie in front of Congress, that doesn't mean anything to me. To me, actually, I think that sadly, because of where the nation is now, and has how so divided we are, and whether you call it lawfare or whatever, you know, whatever side's trying to, you know, the Democrats are doing it to the Republicans and the Republicans are doing it to the Democrats. I just don't think anybody's really afraid of lying on the stand for anything anymore. They all saving their ass. So
Hey,
I think that
sir, can
you
I
know,
ask you
Tony Fauci
something?
got himself in a pickle, and I think he's doing a very delicate um, dance to you know, stay out of trouble.
Do you, can I ask a question of this?
We do need to see if Jonathan has a response to that
Well, can I
because
ask a
No,
Tony Fauci is
I'm
question?
one of
not.
Jonathan Bing's heroes.
Yeah, but I'm not here to debate Jonathan. What was your question?
My question was, do you think that this has been possibly a deep? Okay, I got two questions actually. Do you think that, and I think you're going to say no to this because you're just conservative and you don't want to say it to open up a can of worms. Um, do you think this may be a depopulation plan? Maybe in the back of your mind, maybe.
She
You're
said
not
the D
committing
word,
to
Dr.
it, but
Russ.
maybe.
No. So let me also qualify something. Maybe this will help Jonathan if he's even listening. Um, I don't think Fauci or any of these guys started with ill will, and I don't think that there was some plan like Fauci knew they were doing gain of function research with some intention of, you know, leaking or even unleashing or even using the virus on the public. I don't think that. That's why I'm saying he got himself in a pickle. I didn't say that I think he had you know, premeditated intent
But
to
what about his history with
do a harm.
AIDS?
What about his history?
His history with AIDS.
Right, it goes all the way back to the days of Gallo and you know, I lived through AIDS. Okay, so I was a young surgical resident in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and every fucking night was, you know, it was a knife and gun club. So every night I was in some young gangbanger's chest or belly, you know, soaked my underwear and socks with blood from these guys. And
Wait,
hepatitis and HIV were rampant, and there was no cure. And we didn't know. But we were surgeons. We charged in and we would come out soaked in blood, and I had no fucking clue. And then the nurse would say, "Oh, he's HIV positive."
oh my
And then
God.
I would be like, "Well, hopefully I'm still good." And then these guys figured out a bunch of shit, and they came up with the early antivirals. And now we've turned, it's not even AIDS anymore, it's HIV, turned
Right.
from a lethal disease into a chronic manageable disease. And 90% of the people that get HIV, at least in a first world country, in a westernized society, they don't die of HIV, they die of something else. So, like I said, I don't think Fauci, is a bad guy at the core and had malintent like the Joker or something.
I know, but
I
he's
just think
made
that
like
his career went
millions.
where it went, and there was a lot of influence and a lot of power and a lot of money and he probably made some bad choices recently, and now he's got to walk some shit back, and he's got to hopefully
I,
stay out of trouble.
I, I think you're like maybe like I feel like you feel like he's responsible for a lot of really bad shit, but you're like scared to say it. Nobody knows who you are, so it doesn't matter. But everybody believes that, and there's so many people who believe that he needs, and I say it, to hang, honestly. Like he needs to suffer. Like they're like masks and social distancing and the
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean, that was taken away from our kids in no proms, no graduations, no funerals, no being holding hands with your parent while they died. No, I mean, I'm just thinking of myself right now. Like not being able to go to work and interact with people, not having to stand in these stupid fucking lines at the grocery store, all this stupid shit. And now they're telling us, oh, we just made that up. The masks and the social distancing, we just made that up. They've admitted that. They robbed us of years of normal life and it's like, I'm fine. I mean, I'm mad about it robbing me of my normal life, but I'm so mad about all these children who were fucking robbed because of this bullshit stuff that was not even clinically proven and was false, and they made it up and they're admitting it now.
Well,
Yeah.
Kathy, you
So
have to
I
understand there was a reason why there was a presidential pardon. There's no one that's going to be held account to this, including him. So he is going to
Well,
get off scot free. So what do we do about it from here? Because what if it happens again?
you
I
think
mean,
Joe
yeah.
the
Biden
trust of the
signed?
American
You
people in the
think Joe
world is now
Biden?
starting to see as they uncover it.
Okay,
He
okay,
can walk things back
hey,
because he has a full pardon. Go ahead,
okay.
Dr. Russ.
Hey,
No, yeah. I,
Robotronic Democratic,
I
whatever paid site this is, it was called AutoPen. AutoPen.
yeah,
You think Joe
yeah.
Biden fucking signed or knew what he
Okay,
was
yeah.
doing?
No,
No.
Joe Biden, and I'll give you my opinion, my medical opinion on Joe Biden. He was he's in serious late stages of some level of dementia from Parkinson's through Alzheimer's. That is hands down a fact, and I'll tell Jonathan that 1,000 times in a row. And anybody on this app that can't see that
Jonathan won't
is
record
in
this.
denial. Okay, so let's
Trust
just
me.
put that to rest. So forget about Joe Biden. Whoever did storms right, whoever, whether it was an auto pen or whatever, they pardoned a lot of people. You also said something about, I'm afraid to call out Fauci. Fuck no. I don't like the guy. Okay, I'm a lifer in the system, research, clinical medicine, you know, whatever it takes. Um, and I do not like people that succumb to power and money and all this shit. So I am no fan of Tony Fauci. I don't know what can be done about it. You know what I think would be great is to have the guy on, public TV and have a grill session like they put, Oliver North through back in the day or anybody else, and really bring the evidence out and really bring the experts in. I still think even if you proved all that shit in today's environment, it seems like nobody goes to jail.
No,
Nobody gets what they deserve. The only people that get what they deserve are us, the little guys.
absolutely.
We blow a stop sign and we get screwed. That
I
Bob
think
Dylan has a saying in one of his songs, steal a little, they throw you in jail. Steal a lot and they make you king, right? I mean, truer words were never spoken. So, I am no fan, and I do think they should answer. I think they should answer. Okay, so back to your other, you made reference to the children. Yeah, I have 5 kids, and one of my kids was a high schooler during COVID. What happened to his education and his colleagues and those kids because of distancing and masks and quarantines and sending everybody home and having teachers try to teach online? Yeah, it was really, really bad. Again, I'm gonna default back, not because I'm conservative. I don't think there was a lot of malintent and intention. I don't think my local high school teachers here, you know, did anything premeditated to hurt our children. But ultimately they did because they didn't know how to teach online. They didn't know, the psychological effects of canceling sports, like my kid, a varsity football player, and then boom, your life's nothing, you know? So, yeah, there's a lot of shit there. Again,
it sounds like
I
you
agree with going up to the top, right? If
no.
there was people, and this is where I probably do disagree with Jonathan, you know, when they're starting to tell, us now, the medical community, that everybody needs to get boosters and everybody needs to get vaccinated and you
Ah,
can't refuse a vaccine in the military. I had to get the fucking vaccine because I wasn't allowed to go work in the hospital without it. I didn't have a fucking choice.
oh my
So what
gosh.
are you going to do? You're a cardiac surgeon and you're not allowed in the front door of the hospital unless you get vaccinated. I got no fucking choice.
Well, according to some people, you did have a choice.
What was my choice? To just quit
Yeah,
doing
to
that?
get fired or and quit. I mean, that
Oh,
was
okay.
what we originally went through. And
Uh,
Carlos, you're right. The one thing I'll tell you though, Dr. Rush, when you're
I
bringing
had
up
no
this point,
fucking choice. I
and
guarantee you I had no choice.
well, I mean, you had the choice to either quit your job, get fired, or get it, right? Those were the three options. Was it an
Yeah.
option?
Yeah. But my
Okay.
job is to help people. So
Exactly.
I'm
And so
not gonna
you're actually
fucking
putting
quit
your
my job.
livelihood
Right,
and your
exactly.
licensing and your entire life on the line for a government issued mandate. So, here's what I would say though, to your point, Dr. Russ, and I know I started to interject. I know that as time goes on, we tend to get more desensitized to the gravity of what happened that year. And it just makes us more upset that we know that these people are untouchable, that knew what was going on, that pushed whatever they needed to push to make sure and try and, make the public do what they wanted to do. And so if you look at the top, you look at not only our own government, but you look at, the head, which is Fauci. But, in 10 years from now, we're still going to talk about COVID, but we're not going to remember how many days we were locked in, what varsity football games we might have missed out on, how many graduations didn't happen, how many, grandparents died in nursing homes, how many vaccinations that you had to get, and how many mandates that the government decided the military and the medical community had to get. Or they were trying to privatize it and tell companies that you have the right to actually say that a vaccination is required. That is like the ultimate test of government control, and they pulled it off, and nobody is in jail because of it. And Dr. Russ, to your point, that's where we get frustrated. And it's like, damn, dude, if they had that kind of power in 2021, what could they do in 2025? When does the revolution or the revolt actually come to, against what they're pushing? Do you have a majority? So that's where we get frustrated. I'm glad you shared your views tonight, because frankly, I remember 3 years ago you and I going after them, saying, dude, hello, are you not seeing what we're seeing? And you're in the medical community. So I just want to say thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
That
tell you, one of the questions I still have now, and it goes to the whole kind of crux of this discussion. Um, so I think in the early days when COVID broke out, and say what you want about Trump, orange man bad, whatever. I call him OMB. Um, and he called it a China virus, and they told him he was a racist and all that shit. There was all kinds of shit going on. But at the end of the day, warp speed, the initiative, like I said, that brought all hands on deck, right? People from Pfizer and Moderna and Novartis. I mean, suddenly fierce competitors, like the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, suddenly were in the same locker room working on the same cause. Okay. So in the beginning, nobody knew, was this going to kill the world? We didn't know how bad it was going to be. We didn't know how lethal it was. The shit that we were doing to patients based on our traditional care and what we knew how to handle, hypoxia and difficulty breathing and putting people on ventilators, turned out to be completely wrong. But that had never been seen before. Okay. We didn't know that putting these people on ventilators were bad. But we also were all praying that, you know, that some vaccine or drug or something was going to work. And I don't even want to go down the road of the alternative drugs that were used and all that shit. But what I do want to throw out for the
Answer this
discussion.
question real quick, though, Dr. Russ. Were physicians wrong for trying those alternatives?
No, I mean things like chloroquine and ivermectin. you know there was nothing wrong with trying those and trying cocktails, combination of drugs that are already approved. I mean, you know that would have been great if something simple, like ivermectin, which is not a bad drug, worked in combination with erythromycin. I mean, no, people were trying shit. And that's what I would have
right.
expected, right? Try different combinations, let them do that. But what the point that I'm trying to make is that in the early days, especially when the first strains of COVID were out there and they were killing people and they were very, very lethal, very virulent, right? Because the virus, I'll talk about the virus in a minute, but the virus initially was killing its host, us, the humans, but it wants to adapt and not kill its host. So that's why it became less and less lethal. So now, it can survive because killing everybody would not allow the virus to survive. But my question is, when did it go from, a life saving epidemic? Okay, we got the vaccine, we're going to treat people, and we were coming out of it. And as we got into the second, the third, strain of COVID, and they were progressively less and less lethal. And we were recognizing that people who had had COVID that weren't vaccinated had immunity. Therefore, I mean, Grant's not on tonight, but guys like Grant who had COVID didn't want to get the vaccine. My opinion was he was protected. He has natural immunity. They
Everybody
somewhere
does.
along the line, this is what bugs me. Somewhere along the line, we went to a concerted effort of goodwill to get something out there and help the community. To why the fuck are we forcing people to get boosters and more boosters and mandates and fining companies for not having their employees vaccinated? All that is sheer madness when you look at the fact that now we have a manageable disease. The lethality is going down. There's a ton of people that died that probably got wiped out, but most of the people that were left behind are going to survive. So when you look at those curves of, decreasing lethality and more effective treatment from the medical community, why did they push these mandates further on? That's what bothers me, because there was a point where they didn't even want to hear from the medical community and everything we learned.
Can I?
And,
Can
I'm
I?
hearing on the news, Biden's got a mandate out. Everybody's got to get vaccinated. Everybody's got to get their booster, blah, blah, blah. And all that shit is wrong. And they kept people quarantined beyond when they should have. So, like I said, in that first, whatever it was, that first early period, I don't even remember right now whether it was 6 months to a year, whatever. Um, it was fine. But then what became very apparent to speak to what Storm was saying, they didn't stop. And then that's where the question is, okay, who was incentivized? What
Right.
were the incentives? Why
Okay.
did they do this to us?
Can I?
That's where I don't have an answer. I'm just throwing it out there because
Okay.
that's what keeps me up at night is
Okay.
they betrayed me, my trust. And
Right.
then I'm telling like if I was on this forum or my friends and family are saying, do I need to get a booster? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you already got vaccinated once. You're healthy. You've had COVID. You got natural immunity plus the vaccine. No, don't get it. You don't need it.
Okay.
And they ignored us.
Okay.
Well,
Can I?
Kathy, to your point, you asked a question earlier: is Jonathan a paid operative? And the answer resoundingly is no.
No.
If you
Okay. Can
remember
I?
Dr. Copeland, I wouldn't put it past that guy. That was our good friend that was completely on the other side. That's like
Are
so
you
many
like
red
cutting him
flags,
off
and so
where
many
he
clues
can't
are leading
answer a
to this guy
question?
being so 100% in. That's not making any sense, even though he claimed to be smart. And he probably was. But man, even the smartest thing is him being able to line his pockets based on something that Dr. Russ just clearly articulated. When the
Wait.
medical
What's
community woke
happening
up,
right now? Are
they
we
had to
getting?
make a moral choice, and he made the right one. And there were others that
Wait.
went down another rabbit hole in a road
Hello.
that you're going to
Hello.
notice they're not very often showing their faces anymore.
Hello.
Kathy, please, ma'am. Like, we gotta pass the mic a little bit as well.
Is
When we
this
hear
like a
new,
robotronic
no,
thing?
when we hear new speakers, we gotta let them also.
Oh
We
my
gotta
Well, no,
gosh.
incorporate them
there's a
into what they.
Clubhouse issue and a Chatter issue. We can't hear you on Clubhouse, but you can hear us on Chatter. So my apologies if I spoke over you.
Yeah, that sounded
Now,
like
one thing,
the
yeah, yeah.
gayest
Oh, go on.
Hey,
diatribe ever. I would like to talk to the guy who was actually the
this
doctor.
woman
Wait,
right here,
whose
man.
diatribe?
Let me
Mine?
just say one
Was
thing,
that a
Kathy, real quick.
diatribe?
Let me say
Shit.
one thing. Yeah, yeah,
What's
Dr.
going
Russ, I
on
think
with
you're
you,
letting Fauci off
Kathy?
the hook and the NIH off the hook a little bit too easy, because the Obama administration had paused and
Okay,
put a
you
moratorium on gain of function research because they were doing it at North Carolina Chapel Hill. They knew this research was risky in what they were doing, and what they did was they took it from North Carolina Chapel Hill, even though Obama, the president of the United States, his administration said, "Hey, we're going to pause this," and they outsourced it to Rico out the lines to the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yeah,
So they knew
100%.
exactly what they were doing. So I can't let Fauci off the hook because he knew exactly what was going on. And instead of them actually, abiding by the moratorium, they took this risky research and sent it overseas to China.
Yeah, let's get clear so everybody in this room understands. I am no fan of Tony Fauci. It would not bother me in the slightest if he went to jail. But
oh my
I'm
god.
not, I don't know his intentions. I'm just saying, and I agree with you, he probably is at minimum guilty of recklessness. Okay. Like I said, I don't think a guy like Fauci,
Oh my gosh.
would risk his career to go ahead. What do you need to say? Go ahead.
Sir, it just I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like so appreciative of what you're saying. You're saying it like in I get oh my gosh.
I'm
Okay, let
just
me
trying
say
to,
now
it's
I
just
know.
common
Let
sense
me
and
just ask you
clarity.
this. I know,
And
I
and
know.
again, it's because
We
I
we
feel like I can speak a little bit because I am a
yeah,
scientist at heart. But what I'm
I
just saying
know.
is that I don't know, again, in this lifetime and the way things have gone in the last 5 6 years, I just have no longer any faith in the system that anybody
I
that
have
does
no
anything will ever be prosecuted. So, in minimum,
no.
he was
I
reckless.
I
He
agree.
did shift money. That gentleman was correct.
I
Um,
agree, and it's so frustrating. Um, and I was just going to ask you, and nobody knows who you are, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, if you had to, like, right now, judge in your heart based on what you like believe, who do you think should be held responsible? I mean, we know that ivermectin, fenbendazole, all these are suppressed. It's a capitalistic, like, people who are red pilled understand everything, but like, in your heart, who do you feel uncomfortable? Like, who do you think should be held responsible for all this? We know.
well, again, here's the problem that I have, and this is not like a cop out. Again, I'm a
I know. Don't
pragmatic,
cop out, man. Don't try to be
evidence based
politically
person.
correct.
So I don't really want to. I just gave you my opinion of Fauci. I told you I'd have no problem with him being prosecuted. I have no problem with him going to jail and
For
other
what?
people.
For
But I
what
don't have.
though?
But I don't have the hard evidence in front of me. So what my answer to that is in a perfect world, I would love to see them follow the money. I mean, this is what it all comes down to. It's money, right? It's not just Fauci. Fauci was in cahoots with pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies are in cahoots with the FDA. You know, the FDA gets pressure from other three-letter agencies and the federal government. And like I said, why somebody in the Biden administration made the decision that it was a mandate, and basically they can say, oh well, we're just following Fauci and the World Health Organization and the CDC's recommendation. And then what we found out, and what I've known for years, including the guy that just stepped down from the FDA, by the way, Peter Marks, I have my opinion about him, and I've worked with him for over 5 years now. um, these guys are all subject to influence. Money, number one, power, prestige, pressure. And so, yeah, I would love to get to the bottom of who was getting paid, who benefited, from Moderna and from Pfizer and from, anybody else that developed a drug or a cure or a mask or a whatever,
It's
right?
all a big
But
scam. It's all a
it,
big scam.
it's
It
not
is.
okay. The reason why it's not
It
okay
is a big
is
scam.
is is it, I think I don't know if you're the same woman that said I'm a nobody, but that's fine.
Would never
Okay,
say that
but
you're a
you know,
nobody.
No,
What?
but
no, Miss Kathy, let
If
him
listen,
someone's
finish.
been
Miss
here for a
Kathy,
while,
Miss
shit.
Kathy, let him finish, okay? We're over here listening
I'm
too.
just saying, go. I encourage you, go look me up on LinkedIn. See what I've been doing for the last 30 years, and I'm not alone. You know, I mean, the vast majority of people in the healthcare system. That's why it gets, it rolls off my back now from being in the Million Marathon for, a million nights. But, originally it was infuriating to have people, accuse us of being on the take from the vaccine or even, I can tell you 1000%. I have nothing to do with the vaccine and have not made a single freaking penny from it. And I don't know anybody that personally benefited among my colleagues from the development of the vaccine, right? So, you can't just say the whole damn thing's a scam. There's tons of people working within Pfizer and within Moderna and within Novartis and Johnson that are regular people like us who have kids and families and grew up thinking I want to, change the world in some little way, and I'm going to get a PhD and I'm going to become a scientist for Pfizer and I'm going to work on, an mRNA vaccine because it's going to be better than the traditional vaccine, and they believe that in their heart, and they're not scammers.
I know, but
There,
I have seen the document that United Healthcare put out to doctors, pediatricians, where if they had a certain percentage of um their patients, they would get this bonus for the vaccine. And like I have that. Like I could send that to you right now. And that bothered me a lot. Have you heard about that? Like that there were bonus levels based on the COVID vaccine?
Send it. Send it.
no, no,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
those are problems in the healthcare system. I'm not going to argue there.
I mean, it was like
There's a lot of incentives. There's a lot of metrics. There's leapfrog measures. I mean, everything we do, and this is where life's changed for physicians unless they've took the wrong pill,
I
and
know. Like why
are
didn't you
still
fix
believing. But
this? You're
like
like
in my
such a
world,
good
every
man. Fix it.
so- I'm sorry, I don't know whether you're cutting in and out. I don't know whether I'm speaking over you and that's messing up or
No, I mean, you sound like you're
Just fight through it, bro. Just fight
God.
through it, man.
no. All I
We
was
Just
gonna
need
fight through
like
it,
we
man.
Is
need
that
you,
bull?
man.
Is that bull?
is
Yeah,
what bull.
that's bull. Yeah,
We're over there on the other island,
Yeah,
Dr.
that's
Russ.
bull. I hear
yeah,
him.
Bull, you're supposed to come to Chatter, Bull. We'll see you here soon, Dr. Russ. It's like talking from an island to another island over here.
yeah. Bear with
And I
us.
And
mean,
great stuff.
somebody
Absolutely
needs
loved
to tell
everything that you had to
It's
say.
a
Give me one second, Miss Kathy. We'll pass it right back over there. One of the takeaways that I'm still thinking about is when we were having the conversation about whether this was forced or not, right? And how you were feeling. And I remember those debate rooms because, I mean, we would spend uh, days going back and forth as to even what it meant to be forced to do something, right? Because I think we absolutely were forced to do things. And it's interesting to be talking about this all over again. So um,
Yeah,
Carlos is over there clipping some of this stuff.
Wouldn't have been going on for days if I was there. Hey, luckily I wasn't there for the first season one for Clubhouse. I'd have shut that shit down.
yeah. No, we were. I mean, I think most of the medical community, especially us, that are, our field's cardiopulmonary. So you guys may or may not remember some of those conversations, but some of the sickest patients, when they could not get oxygen in their blood on the ventilator, they had to be put on what's called ECMO, extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, right? The world didn't even know what ECMO was. It was something that only heart surgeons know. It's putting you on the heart lung machine. So, like, everybody's like, well, what do heart surgeons have to do with COVID? Well, in those early days, people that couldn't get any oxygen, the only way we could oxygenate them was to actually put them on the open heart cardiopulmonary bypass machine, right?
What
And
about
and
corticosteroids? How come that wasn't being administered early
whoa,
on?
whoa, whoa, yeah, no, that's a totally different topic. But what I'm saying is that you're telling me that and so there's 4,000 heart surgeons in the country. I'm not talking about cardiologists, I'm talking about heart surgeons. Okay, that's guys that open your chest. We can put you on bypass, we can put you on the heart lung machine. Okay, so there's only 4,500 of us or some in the country. So you're sitting here hearing about these people, percentage of them need our services, and the hospital saying you can't come to work to help these people if you don't get vaccinated. So you tell me, what do you do? And I already told you the story about HIV in the early days when we didn't even have a cure. you know yeah, did I have a choice, quit my surgical residency and say I'm not taking this gangbanger to the fucking box and putting my hands in his belly and fix his liver because I don't want to get HIV? It's not a choice. you know it's just not, and we didn't have the choice with COVID. But I'll tell you now, that there is a lot of this other evidence. I have no problem looking a hospital administrator in the eye and saying, fuck you, I'm not taking another booster. You know, I've told many hospital administrators, fuck you, for different reasons. So I have no problem with that. But in the early days, they had the power over us and they literally, you know, could keep us out of the hospital. Sorry, somebody was going to say something.
Now, I was just going to ask, why, why should we believe you?
Oh my God.
But wait a second. Believe me
Oh,
about what? Believe me about what?
Just
You,
everything you're saying.
I mean, maybe
You
for
know,
the same reason
okay.
we believe you, Miss
Listen,
Kathy.
Well, you shouldn't.
I don't give a shit
You
if you
shouldn't.
believe me. I
that's what I
don't.
was just thinking,
I
Dr.
mean
Russ.
that's you know, like I said, you know, in the early days of Million Marathon, you might have gotten a rise out of me by saying that, but
No, I'm
no,
not trying.
I've
I'm
been
not.
in so many rooms with so many crazies and so many people that have no clue. I've already told you 3 times tonight. Look me up on LinkedIn. If you
But you
don't
haven't told
believe
me your
that,
name.
then you
Miss
know.
Miss Kathy, you've got our doctors cursing up in here and everything
No, but he
already.
hasn't
Well,
Come
I'm a
told me
surgeon,
on.
his
so that comes
name.
with the
You're a
territory.
surgeon, huh?
Right?
But
I don't
Come
give a
on.
fuck.
but
Here's some anesthesia. I'll put you
What's
out.
his name? I'd
yeah,
like to
Yeah,
look him
Dr.
up.
Russ, this has been some pretty good stuff tonight. And
you
I
Can
know,
mean
somebody
good
tell
with
me his
like
name
I,
so I
just
Thank
the
you
can
for
look
best
him
that.
up?
intention. That's been wonderful. You got a lot of love in the chat for sure, and from
Okay, so
parents.
I
So
nobody's
we're
haven't
going to
even
tell
been
appreciative.
looking,
me.
but it just cracks me up.
Look,
Um,
I
I'm not
yeah.
trying
can't
to
believe the
fight. I'm just
conversation just
asking you
ended
to
with
look.
that. That was just really,
Okay, so
excuse my
nobody's
mouth.
going
That
to
was
tell
fucking
me how to
precious.
look him
That was
up.
good. Yeah, it gave me a great laugh. I love it. That's
well,
hysterical.
Dr.
So
Russ,
I love that comment.
Okay, so all I've got is Dr.
wait a
Russ.
minute, Kathy. You've been talking a lot. Dr. Russ, I'd like to thank you so much for sharing and being so patient. And I feel bad for the people who just can't appreciate, your general intellect on a scientific level, whether they believe whatever conspiracies they want to believe. And Kathy, my girl,
I just asked
listen,
how to
Kathy,
look him
Kathy,
up.
Kathy, 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 Kayate, please listen. You come on here with some really strong accusations. First, you accuse Jonathan of getting paid, then
Can
Dr. Russ
somebody just send
of
me
being
Dr.
bribed. Like,
Russ's
those are
con?
really strong accusations,
Yeah,
girl.
nobody sent me any link to his contact.
The
He
link doesn't
told you to
matter.
look him
Listen,
up.
listen, calm yourself. The link doesn't matter. This
Yeah, it
gentleman is
does. The
spending
contact.
his time sharing knowledge with us. Let's just, maybe we should just appreciate that
Maybe we
part.
should just
We'd
prove that
love to
he's a
know.
doctor.
Okay.
How about that?
We we'd love to know what about your credentials? What if someone attacked you in this manner?
I provide my.
Tell us about you and your credentials. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm president of a company. I'm in the music business. I license music. Uh, I license music for movies, television, and commercials, and digital releases, etc. But I'd like to know what I've
Can
been
I look you
talking.
up on IMDb?
No, I don't do any of that. I have a private company.
Oh,
Um.
no. If you're a
Oh,
producer,
no, no,
you've worked on
no, no,
productions
no,
in
no.
music and entertainment. I mean,
Um.
you can look
She's
me up. I'm on
entertaining us right
IMDb, but
now, though.
you
You know what
you
I'm
would be
saying?
on IMDb for sure.
Yeah.
So
I just.
why don't you send us a link and show us some of your credentials and why should we believe you? And I'm not coming at you. I'm just letting you hear the way you're speaking to people. It's really invasive.
It's invasive acting. Asking a doctor for his contact information. That was invasive. That's all
No,
I asked.
it's the accusatory tone. Don't play stupid. You're crazy, but you're not stupid.
No, ma'am. All I'm saying, I'm not crazy and I'm not stupid. I'm just asking the doctor that I've been talking and conversing with, what is his name? That's all
Why
I
don't you come
need.
over here? We invited you to chatter like
Can
45
can you
times.
can you not see my name? I didn't
No,
realize you
she
can't
can't.
see.
No,
I
Here,
can't,
it's real
sir.
simple. Here, you got a pen?
Yes, I
Okay,
do
it's
right now.
RUSS Russ.
RUSS.
The last name is REISS. Okay. Just plug in,
REI.
go to LinkedIn, plug in
Okay.
Russ Reese,
Thank you,
look,
sir.
look up the older guy, not my son, the young guy.
Oh, oh
And
my
you'll
gosh,
see
it's your
everything you want to know
son?
about me for the last 30 years. And quite
No,
frankly, like I said, I don't really give a shit
I know you
why you
don't.
would believe me or not. But I
No,
do agree with some of the people, that I've known for years in these rooms, who I think we appreciate each other.
no.
I
And
mean,
Dr. Rice,
I'm not looking for kudos.
no,
I'm here
dude.
most nights just to hear the conversation and hang out with some people that, I've known for a while now and see what's going on.
Yeah,
And if I can add, something constructive to the conversation, that's where I'm at.
no.
But
And can I call you Dr. Rice? Is that Reese?
Reese, you
Dr.
can call me
Reese.
whatever you want. I go by Russ, okay? Even
Okay. Hey,
everybody calls me
Russ.
Russ, but Dr. Russ, whatever, Dr. Reese, I don't give a shit what you call me.
Yeah, I'm Kathy. I was born in '69. I feel like yeah, I trust you and I trust your heart and I appreciate that you were honest tonight and that's not easy to do and I think we both know that with everything that's going on and it really because I get a lot of bad feedback when I like bring up kind of conspiracy theory stuff and whatever. Um but you were like really honest and I appreciate it and I learned a lot from you and I'm red pilled but I everything's I think outside the box. So
What are you saying? Are you a follower of Andrew Tate or something?
no, but Russ, thank you so much. I really enjoyed listening to you tonight. I really
Yeah,
did.
you're welcome.
Thank
I just
you.
was going to say, I don't have any, um, there's no motive at
I know.
all. And one of the reasons why, you said something about it's hard to tell the truth or speak freely, whatever. It's not for me. And this may sound arrogant, but what I've been through and how I got to where I am, I encourage you to go look at that because at this stage of my life, and this includes having raised 5 kids,
Yeah.
and been married for decades, right? Everything that it's accumulated to where I am now, I don't really give a shit, right, about people's opinions. I give a
Yeah.
shit about people's
Totally.
welfare, right? So what I care about is that what I say in this room, if somebody acts upon it, they're acting upon my best opinion and my best interpretation of the literature and the facts and what I know today.
Yeah.
But whether or not somebody wants to stand up here and grill me about my credentials or,
No.
fly some conspiracy theories back and forth, that rolls off my back and I don't even think twice because it's just a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of valuable minutes, maybe even hours in this room that you'll never get back.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, and you know
Can
what? This
I ask you
happened
the
last time.
backhanded
I can
crazy
predict how this
question?
conversation is going to end, Kathy. The last time you spoke with us, you came in like a wrecking ball. It's cool. Everyone has their opinions. I respect you. We respect you. You come in, you make a lot of accusations about people, and
No,
then
not
with
really. I
next
just
step,
ask
next step coming
questions.
up, like you did last time. I already know you're going to play the victim, so you can go ahead and start now, and
Wait,
I'm going to go to
victim?
sleep.
What kind of victim? What are you talking about?
Okay, it's almost not nice for me to say it, but last time you came in with your shit, and then you end up crying at the end talking about your son. We were actually concerned about you. We
Yeah.
hoped that you would come back to the app, and you attack people. It's just such a telltale sign of your character. You come and attack, and then you start crying. If you're gonna be tough, don't be a pussy.
What? What are you talking about, ma'am?
You just started telling Dr. Rush, you started going down. I see it already. You started saying, "Oh, I'm so great. Now you're so grateful that, he took his time to speak to us." And you came in with such rough
Yes.
accusations. What about your accusations of them getting paid and being terrible people? That's defaming people. It's not nice. I don't even
Of
talk
who-
this
of
much. I'm
wait,
done with you.
Of who getting paid? What are you talking about?
Oh boy. I'm sorry, you never said that.
No, I did not accuse Dr. Russ of getting paid. What are you talking about, ma'am?
Or Jonathan, right?
I asked Jonathan if he was getting paid from a USAID or some Democratic whatever. Maybe he is. If he is, good for him. Just claim
So
it.
then
You
why?
you
So then
accused
why?
all people in the medical field of getting paid.
You absolutely did it. And why? And even if they
Oh my
say they
God,
are
you
getting
guys are
paid,
crazy people. You're like little bots. Like, oh,
You're the
what?
bot. Be quiet. Damn.
Oh my God, you guys are fucking crazy people. Jonathan, what do you need to ask me right now?
Kathy, I think you're done for tonight. I think really you should just
And
stop
not
for tonight.
not if Jonathan Bing's awake and he's gonna answer that question.
I mean, what is like I don't even understand. Like
I think you should stop
I
for
think
tonight.
y'all
I
got
think
some
Jonathan, wake
responses
up
from
from
the
your
doctor
REM
that you
sleep,
didn't want to
man.
hear.
I know Diana. She got me
Oh,
going nuts.
Hey,
Today.
Sheree,
Sheree, you a bot?
Sheree, I
I
was
thought
gonna
you was a
troll
person.
you. I was gonna troll you, Sheree, when you said don't be a. If you're gonna be a blank, don't be a blank. I was gonna say, Sheree, why can't you be both though? Like, what happened there?
Oh, I'm not
But you
mad at
never
that
know,
one.
man. You never know with the trolling this late at night. Oh my God, Miss
I'm
Kathy, come to Chatter and bring Bowl with you on your
Yeah,
way.
come over, Kathy. I'm not
No,
coming at you. I'm just
look,
pointing out what I hear, and I want you to
girl,
hear it. I
girl,
just
I
want
get
you to
what you're
hear it because it
doing.
sounds cuckoo, and we're all a little crazy.
Hey,
No,
Miss Kathy, you know why
Cocoa
Sheree's
Puffs, Cocoa
upset?
Puffs.
Because
Hey, is that
we
real
were
over
really
there?
concerned about you that night. And
Yeah,
about
then
what?
you were supposed to come the next day,
I'm
and
yup.
then we didn't
already
hear
there,
from you. That's why I
sister. I'm
messaged you.
already
What are you
there.
talking about, man?
Oh, hell
Kathy,
no.
you do
It's
remember?
recorded. Don't do this to me. I,
Okay,
Go find the tape.
Kathy, you
wait.
don't remember?
Do you
No, what are you
remember?
Okay,
talking
I
about?
would say it's probably the last time. Well, have you been on Clubhouse recently?
Not
Sorry,
like I
CH.
don't pay attention, man.
all right, well, Miss
cut it
Kathy,
out. She
if you go to
remembers.
your
That's the
Clubhouse profile right now, you
Okay,
will be
Oh,
able to see what
okay,
rooms you have spent some time in,
okay,
and there will be replays there.
okay.
Miss Kathy.
Hold on
we were
now.
we were concerned about you, and you flat
We
left
sure
us.
were.
You flat left us, and then you came back and called everybody liars.
I called
We're
everybody
good people here. We're
liars.
just all Looney Tunes.
Well, my son got diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Yes, you told
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
We remember. You don't remember.
No, I do remember, but I kind of don't because I was such if you have a child and they get diagnosed with cancer, you really don't fucking know what's going on.
I'm
So,
There we
sorry.
go.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry, darling.
yeah. He's doing okay right now. We've got another scan coming up. But yeah, no, was did I get that news? And he's in New York and I'm in Nashville. And am I bugging out and freaking out? And yeah, so if that's what y'all are claiming that I did or whatever or is wrong, okay, yeah.
But don't take it out on Dr. Russ.
I'm not taking it out on Dr. Russ. I'm just telling you what happened when I was on Clubhouse the last time that y'all are talking about.
You were
That
definitely on. I was just trying to lighten it up, Kathy.
yeah, and I would, and
Okay.
I think I probably was fucking on the last time I was on Clubhouse because I was fucking freaking out because my 25-year-old son had been diagnosed with cancer. So, and what do you do? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm very sorry to hear that. And I mean that
no,
sincerely.
he's
I wasn't
okay. No,
coming at
everything is
you.
good. Everything is good right now. And
Good,
I
good,
know
good.
all of y'all hate me,
No, see
honestly.
you taking it now. You're taking
No,
it
you
too
probably
far.
do. If you want to say a prayer,
Nobody hates you. Nobody.
well,
Maybe, unless
I
you
hope
do. No,
not.
we
I
don't.
don't hate anybody for any reason, but if you can say a prayer because we got an upper scan coming up, And I'm in Nashville, he's in New York, and I'm not there, and it bothers me. And he's my baby, and it's bad not being there. So, anyway,
Kathy, I think you
oh
might, if you do come over to this site, I think it'll be easier for you because you
my
can
God,
visually
you're
see
trying to
us.
get
You
me
can see
over
our
on this crazy
pictures. You
site.
can see who we are. You can put our voice to our pictures
Uh-uh.
and you can see people's profiles and you could have seen Dr. Russ. So it might simplify things if you just come over here to the chatter app and
I
join us.
tried to do it, and there's like some blockage.
Yeah, I sent her the stuff. I mean, we'll try to figure it out some way somehow. I mean, she fits right in. Look, she was telling us she was sending us straight to hell earlier, and now we're
Oh,
kumbayaing again. So
yeah.
she's
Well, there you go. Bam.
Otra vez, otra vez.
Love you,
Hey,
minute
And
call.
there
It's
Love
in
you
your
you.
go.
otra
It's
messages,
vez.
called split
Miss Kathy.
personalities.
Yeah, man.
Was that
Carlos,
We
keep it
we
Spanish or
just
real.
roll with
English?
it, man.
Keep it
Miss
real.
Kathy, it's in your messages. I'll send you another one.
I know. Here's the thing. I'm pretty red pilled. I don't think I'm going to get along with many people in this room or this
Miss
group.
Kathy, there's like a million blue pills here. It's okay. We're
No,
used
I'm
to
not
them.
blue pill. I'm
You'll start getting used to them too.
no, I'm not blue pilled, ma'am. I'm red pilled. Red, red, red pilled.
Listen, there's a lot of Andrew supporters
No,
over
y'all
there,
don't. If
Kathy.
you don't even know what a red pilled person is, like that's normal. Like, do you even know what an NPC is?
I am dying for you to tell me what
It's a
it
not.
is
Oh
that
my
a
god.
red pill person is and whatever you just said. And then if you could please, after that, pass it over to our friend Bull, that would be great. Go, Miss
Yeah,
Kathy. What
I
is a
and
red pill person and whatever you just said?
yeah, I feel like
No,
this
she
is
got it.
really
Don't worry
bad,
about
and I'm embarrassed for all of you that you don't know this. It's
Red
yeah.
pill is the option in the Matrix given to from Morpheus to Neo,
There you
and
go.
he
Okay,
takes the
somebody,
red pill. So
somebody
what's
understands.
NPC?
Somebody understands. There you go. They can explain to you what's
But
if
wait a
you
minute.
take.
Okay, Allison, are you red pill?
We, in my opinion, to
Nah, what do you mean
incarnate.
we? Hold on. I'm not. Hold on. Are
I
you? Wait, we're having a
it.
conversation.
I
Are
said to
you
well,
red pill?
you didn't hear me though. When I say we, I included a category which is you, which is to incarnate, to live in this
Oh,
cycle
this
of
was a
life
yes
and
or no
death.
question. Are you red pill? Yes or no?
Um,
Yeah,
I do
she
feel
is.
like there's a spectrum,
Okay, bro. Look,
No,
um,
Miss
Allison.
Kathy, you cannot have
but
Miss Allison as your representation for the red pill person. Like she is. You got to do.
I'm
You
more
got to
red
go for
pill
it
than most
yourself,
you
Miss Kathy. Hold on,
motherfuckers.
Allison, Miss Kathy. What
Why are you
is a
calling me
red
Miss
pill
Kathy
person?
like I'm in preschool?
You have to let go of belief
If
systems
you
to
could
be
please
out
explain
of
it to
the
me like I'm in
matrix,
preschool, I would actually appreciate
Kathy.
it a lot. Miss
Yeah.
Kathy, what is a red pill person?
A red pill person is somebody who understands that they're
Conditions,
oh god. I don't
habitual.
even
Allison, can you please let her explain it? And then you can talk right after. Just please let her explain it since she's a red pill person. You could explain to us whatever kind of pill it is that you are, respectfully. Go for it,
okay.
Miss Kathy.
Okay. I'm just gonna say that a red pill person is somebody that has the mindset that they are open minded to realizing that everything that they've learned in their whole life since they were born might not be accurate and might not be the real truth of the world. And
And this is the core of Buddhism.
Allison, please, because I'm hoping that Carlos hasn't fallen asleep so that he could interpret it for me. Go for it, Miss Kathy.
okay, you so rudely interrupted me.
Yeah, I
And
agree. See,
please,
Allison, go for it, Miss Kathy.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
please do not rudely interrupt me again. Can you
Yes,
agree to
ma'am.
do that and say, yes, ma'am, I will not rudely interrupt you again?
I already said yes, ma'am. Ma'am?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Um, being red pilled is being open to uh being open to the idea that everything that you've been taught in your entire life is not true and the truth that you have been taught has been manipulated. And there's a reason behind it. There are people behind it, and they have reasons behind it. And it may be religious in nature. It may be um, a faith. I'm trying to like really spread this out like wide. You know what I mean?
I
Let me
mean,
Um,
help you out.
I'm
Let me
actually
help you out.
following
Let
you.
me.
I'm actually following
Oh,
you.
yeah,
So
okay,
here
I'm
we
continue.
trying
go.
to spread it out really wide. Um, I feel like the ok- all I'll say is that everything, if you had a
No.
widespread, if you had to paint a widespread thing, it's the battle of good versus evil, and everything falls within those perimeters of heavy,
It'd be a
right?
broad stroke, a broad
Yeah.
stroke. You
All
paint
right.
with a broad stroke.
That's me. There you go. Bam. Let's go.
Widespread and a broad stroke, huh?
All right. So, what would be a blue pill person?
Someone that doesn't know their Buddha nature, because Buddha is famous for basically seeing reality as it was versus as it appears to be. That's the idea of the matrix. Are you your belief systems? Are you your culture? Are you your true nature? Are you your habituated self that the media taught you to be? So you're easily controlled and manipulated. So like it's pretty simple. Everybody's seen the Matrix.
So in the end, it boils blue Democrats and red Republicans.
No,
No.
it's
No,
It's dummy versus think outside the box, people.
it's called discerning awareness, sovereign, a sense of sovereignty in a
Wait,
way.
wait, 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 wait. Hold on, Allie and Miss Kathy. The red pill people are the ones that think outside the box.
Right.
Yes, like
Oh,
you're
no. What's
red
your
pill,
take? It's the blue people.
Diana. In your mind, you are red pill fully,
Who?
and like to connect what to connect what Kathy said, right, and it just tied into your belief system, Dinah. Do you think the aliens maybe had something to do with like fucking with our DNA, or maybe back in Atlantis, people started fucking with our DNA so that we were more ignorant in a way that was limited by our DNA. Like that's an example of tying your belief system into Kathy's, Diana, putting you in the red pill category.
Okay, whoever was just speaking, I love you. We need to be best friends.
You
oh, you
just
you
told me
totally are already.
Absolutely.
No.
you.
But
Oh,
she's
good
you
blue
lord.
pilled, Kathy.
you'll hate
Y'all
me
are
in
in the
5
same
minutes. It's
pill,
okay.
like
It's all right.
encapsulated.
No, because
And
I'm on
I'm
Kathy,
not
not
well
Clubhouse.
loved
everyone.
either,
Allie, we
Kathy.
should, we should, we
Diana.
should, Allie, we should break this down. The red pill versus
I'm
definitely
still
not tonight,
curious about the other
but
one. It wasn't NBC. I know what that is.
And by
Oh,
the way, everyone hasn't
NPC.
seen
Oh my
The
God.
Matrix.
Allie. Okay, Allie. You don't know
Uh
what an
oh.
NPC is?
Oh boy.
No,
Oh my
NBC.
God.
I'm into that. That doesn't happen here.
I am so upset with you. You're so honed in on everything. Okay, NPC is it's in the Matrix. It's a non-player character. Okay?
Oh, it's a gamer
Oh,
reference.
oh,
That makes sense. I
snap!
wouldn't get it.
You don't
Okay.
strike me as a gamer girl.
No,
Look at
I'm
you. What
not.
kind of games do
No.
you play?
Oh, look, you're gonna get some fans if
Are
you
you
can
into
be
No.
Call
able to
of
be a
No,
bull,
Duty?
no,
gamer,
no.
bull,
Kathy.
No.
come to chatter, bull.
No, I don't play any this is like I don't play any games. Like this is
So, so Kathy,
people.
you base
Buddha didn't either.
kind of base your life and your stance and your mentality, as you said, or what do you call it, mindset, on a movie. I've never seen The Matrix. You said everyone has seen The Matrix.
Okay, that
Yes.
was an exaggeration. I used to absolute.
Not everybody
It
has
was
seen The Matrix. No, no, no. Oh,
sloppy.
I thought that was Kathy who said that, not you, Allie.
Yeah. Well, I hoped everybody had seen it because we're living it,
Most
basically.
people know the reference, I
They
think.
get it.
I
they
mean, you
know
can
it.
type in red pill and you can see the little GIF
No, y'all messed this thing totally
image.
up. Y'all need to stop confusing the room.
I mean,
Well,
on
why do you? I
Twitter,
mean, why do y'all use terms y'all heard but don't understand what it is?
Red
Just the
okay,
pill. I
basics
knew
of it.
you were still here, interpreter. Can
Yeah.
you tell me what a
I
red
think
pill
I
person is?
demonstrated
The
for
red
Rich.
pill only means that you're awake to what is going on. The blue pill means that you want to stay in the matrix and
that's
still
right.
be controlled. I don't know
That's
why
right.
this running around, going around, and all this other stuff. See,
Okay,
y'all be
what's the
hearing about these
matrix for
terms and don't know.
Carlos? What's the
Oh, the
Yeah,
matrix?
matrix is a system of control.
that's
Which
Basically,
is
right.
what? Is
you.
that like the principalities in the Bible, like we talk about?
Well,
Yeah.
no, it depends. I mean, but what it is it just means that you're awake to what's going on if you take the red
No, I
pill.
mean,
That's
it's like
that's
if
what
you
the
want to
term
be
red pill
asleep.
means.
Hey,
You're
we're
just
not
awake to
gonna
what's
Exactly.
going
we're
on.
not gonna
You
glance
see the
over
game
that.
that's being
Diana,
played.
No.
religion is a belief
We're not gonna
system.
glance
Yes,
over that
Diana.
because in the Bible, the red is the beast. No.
See, now
No,
you really got to come,
dude, this has nothing
Allison.
to do
What
with the
what I meant by
Bible.
the principalities is that even when you talk about it from a systemic, the matrix being this systemic thing, people, when you break it down, they usually refer to the government as that systemic thing. Would you agree to that, Carlos? Or the form of oligarchness, and a principality is similar to me. So that's the only. I'm just trying to tie the connection because there is a connection. I mean, Bull said, "Is it red for Republicans and blue for Democrats?" And it was said no, but I disagree. I think that there is a correlation there, and then obviously, spiritually, there's a correlation there as well. But
No, no,
Carlos, yes,
no,
I
Okay,
don't know if you
that
heard
no,
me
is
no.
Well,
earlier.
it's just
I
crazy.
said I
You're
said you were going
taking
to
the
interpret it.
you're taking the
yeah.
Republican
Hold on,
talking
Allison.
point of
Allison,
woke
Allison.
and
Just remember,
mixing it
I
in the
asked
most
Carlos if he
messy
could
way.
please.
Okay.
Allison, I don't know if you can hear me, but I asked Carlos if he could please interpret this earlier, and I thought he was asleep, but he's awake. So that's where we're having the conversation about Carlos is the red pill versus the blue pill, and that's where you came in.
No, no, it's not. They're making it. They're making it more than what it is. No, the red pill only means you're awake to what's going on. And the blue pill means you choose to keep your head down and let things be. As far as just, I mean, just so terms that people can understand, if your husband is cheating on you, you are actually open to understanding that he's doing that. If you're blue pill, you don't want to know that he's cheating on you. You want to go back to being who you are. You want to go back to living life the way it is instead of opening your eyes to seeing that your husband is cheating on you or vice versa. That's
Okay,
all it is.
Jonathan,
And I don't
Jonathan.
know why they're going this round around
Okay,
thing. I mean, they
okay.
I'm glad I'm
Hey,
not buzzed tonight because y'all would have blown it.
I feel like right now, like this is a big scam right now. Jonathan, he just totally explained it. Like red pilled, blue pilled. Like we're a bunch of fucking dummies.
Okay, just so you know, every time you say Jonathan, it's like everybody on chatter. That was Carlos.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly. I haven't
So
said
God,
anything in
this
a
is
while.
like
everybody,
horrible. Y'all have
Jonathan.
got to go back to Clubhouse and get
Yeah,
off
but
the
I haven't
phone.
said anything for a while.
It's horrible.
Oh my God, you're still
Just
awake, Jonathan? You let that all happen all this time and you
Kathy's
didn't
trying to
say
get
a
on
word.
here, Jonathan, but you have you
No,
blocked her?
Jonathan is like hoard himself out
Hey
on
guys,
this
if you guys are listening
chatter
to us at
thing.
home,
I'm
this
not
is the
doing it. I'm
Debate the
staying
News
on Clubhouse.
podcast. Make sure you guys download Chatter Social
Yeah,
and come
okay.
join us
You're
for our
like,
live
make sure
recording.
you, yeah.
Also,
I got my
if you
logo.
one
Yeah.
second, ma'am, I don't want to have to kick you out the room.
Oh,
Okay.
are you about to do
Also,
that?
if you get
Miss
if you're
Kathy, we don't want that.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
look at his
and
logo.
by the way, guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm about to shut down CH. So, Kathy, if you want an opportunity to come over, you can come over right now. The
I can't
conversations,
do
yeah,
it, man.
I'm
I've
shut,
tried.
I'm
You
shutting down
gotta
CH. I'm
you
shutting
gotta
down
download
CH.
the app first.
So anyway, so with that being said, I'll give you like 2 more minutes, Kathy, to download the app, the Chatter Social app, and get an invite from someone.
Nobody
You're
sent
certainly
it
not
to
gonna
me.
have my name on it. So,
Nobody sent it to me.
well, hopefully somebody come over and give you one. I'll give you 2 minutes to get that. But
Hey, don't
with that being
threaten
said,
me.
folks, I'm going to be shutting down CH in about 2 minutes. All right. Thank you.
Oh yay! Well,
Diana
it's
said
been a
she was
blessed,
sending
blessed
you one, Kathy, and
room.
just open the app first and
I,
then
I
click on
haven't
the
gotten a
invite.
thing. I'm still on Debate the News. Is Trump making Americans feel safer or not? And there's
Let's
like,
let that one poor guy speak. He hasn't even been able to speak whatsoever.
I
Jeez.
got no invitation on
Diana, I mean,
Twitter.
not Diana, whatever,
Yeah.
Dr. Hope or whatever your name is. Listen to me. Yeah, about 90 seconds or so, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be shutting that room down. I think you need to focus your attention on getting over to Chatter, so that you can continue the conversation over on Chatter. So hopefully someone's gonna come over there and give you a I guess an invite.
Mhm.
I'll stay on mute for another minute or so before I shut it down. And
I
right
thought,
before I shut it down, I'll let you guys know I'm shutting it down. Thank you.
uh-huh. Does
And
anybody
Thomas,
feel like there's
Thomas in
like
the
a bunch
chat
of
is wondering,
robots?
and the room is going to be shut down, Thomas, and they they'll have the room open over at Chatter. So I guess someone
Diana,
can share the
do
link
her
in the
right.
chat.
I've got
Give
no
her an invite.
invitation on Chatter.
Mm.
Diana, get on
All right, Miss
Clubhouse.
Kathy, the invitation is in your Clubhouse messaging system.
I'm
So you got to
looking.
download the app first, Kathy, and then open the invite, and then get over here.
You
Kathy,
gotta
go to
have
your
an
app
invite
store. Are
to
you on
get in there,
iPhone
right?
or
Oh
Android?
my God. Y'all are crazy people.
You
Do you
Well,
see
no.
Diana's direct message? She
Oh,
sent
I
you the
see. I
invite.
see Diana
Open the
just
app
now. Sent a
first,
message.
then
Hmm.
click on the invite after you already made a profile. You got to
And
make a
y'all are,
profile
and now
first.
y'all are gonna like record me and shit.
You're
oh
always
my
being
God,
recorded.
Kathy, go to bed.
You're always being recorded if you're in
She
here,
said you always
Girl,
being
Kathy.
that
recorded.
was rude.
Well, Kathy, we're trying to invite you to our conversation. You can see us on video. You can cam up. You can see our faces. You can hear our voices. We're trying to invite you and be kind to you.
Nah.
But if you don't want to
Ah,
come, if you
Check
don't want to
your
come,
direct messages. Beep,
You're
beep, boop,
missing
boop.
out,
Yeah,
Check.
Kathy.
and Miss Kathy, when you go over to Chatter, you got to go with that exact same profile that you have right there. Bull. I'm going to send you a message too, okay? I shall talk to you guys soon.
Is that
Giraffe,
real?
I swear if you're not there in 3 days, hmm.
I don't know what this chatter thing is
All
about.
right, guys. So with that, Kathy, I am about to shut this room down.
Oh, nice.
Yep,
Way to
very
go.
nice. So you got your direct message? Download the app, and then after you download the app, hit that link.
Hmm.
Thank you. Have a nice day, guys.
Yeah, have a nice one.